Good morning, everyone. Welcome on this chilly day after St. Patrick's Day to the Joint Finance Committee or the Finance Committee, Joint Finance Committee of the Power Authority and Canal Corporation. Hopefully, everyone had a good celebration yesterday or over the weekend. I'm still waiting to celebrate the beginning of real spring, but we're another week closer, so that's always a good thing. Welcome, my fellow committee members, B. Gonzalez, Laurie, Wheelock, Lewis Warren, Cecily Morris, Michael Cusick, fresh off. He was just telling us a good march in the parade in the city yesterday. Dennis Trainor is excused. I don't know if that means he celebrated too long and hard, but I think he otherwise planned to be away today. So, as always, joined with a robust turnout from the NYPA and Canal Corporation staff. And as always, this meeting has been duly noticed as required by open meetings law, and hence I'm pleased to call it to order. Our agenda has been circulated, and unless someone has any amendments thereto, I'd ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thanks, Laurie. Have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carried. Everyone's had a chance to review the list of any potential conflicts in advance of the meeting. If you have any late breaking changes or developments, make sure you advise Karen thereof. Otherwise, thank you for response as always to that. We have a very full morning today. As always, we'll get it going with a report from Adam Barsky on how we're starting the year. January was atypical for us, so beyond the results, it's a good story that you'll get some highlights and headlines on today, and we'll pick up some more when we're together for full board in 10 days or so. Have a variety of other actions that are required and significant investments that we're continuing to make and work done for the benefit of Canal Corporation that we'll address, as well as the ongoing commitments to workforce development. We will conclude our meeting in executive session and adjourn coming out of executive session. So with that, Adam's already at the podium, ready to rock and roll. Adam, take us away.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, trustees, NYPA colleagues, members of the public. So for January, as the chairman alluded to, was a little bit of a mixed bag and a rocky start for the year, really because of the more unusual cold snap we had throughout the state and the region. Some places did better, some places not so much. In this case, we had some challenges at Niagara with ice jamming and needed to be able to clear that and maneuver. A lot of operational challenges there, but we were able to meet our NYSO obligations, customer obligations, managing fuel. We'll get into more of this, as I would say, as a case study at the full board meeting on the 31st. But the net of all of it was that we were about 3 million plus below target for the month, despite the fact the prices were very high. And also we had to curtail some customers and buy power out in the market at very high prices. So we tried to minimize the impact of that, and also working with our customers to ensure that if they do have an experience of higher than normal costs, that we will work with them to pay that off over a reasonable period of time, so that there's no unduly burdened for them to manage through this as well. So working very closely with Maribel and her team and the customers, and making sure that their needs are all being met operationally and both financially. Transmission did better, mostly because of HTP, because there were high prices and we were able to, our hedges and our positions there worked out to our favor. And I think we'll show the the next slide will show really how it all broke down. So if you see places like St. Lawrence, BG, and Flynn did much better because of the high prices and being called on more for the increase in heating degree days. So we had 43 more heating degree days than the 5-year average. So it was an extraordinary period of time. And you could see what happened in Niagara, where it was really a swing of $28 million from what the budget and the plan was because of the curtailment and the ice jam and the effect on generation there. But as I mentioned, we'll go in more detail, but operations and working with the RM did a really great job of being agile and managing the assets and meeting our obligations to our customers and to the NYSO really in an admirable way. So we're really proud of that. Any questions on any of that? This is, again, just showing the pricing differences in terms of both, those heating degree days being higher and the energy prices, both upstate, downstate, 85% higher, upstate, downstate, 40% higher. We actually experienced $1,000 per megawatt hour at various points. I mean, these are abnormal conditions. Some of this ran into the first week of February as well. If there are any other questions on this, we'll move to the next.
Yeah, before you move, Adam, as I alluded, he referenced, used the term, case study as we were prepping for this meeting. It's a very atypical outcome for us. So what we discussed and agreed in concert with Joe and his team to go a little deeper and thought it would be better to do it in full board and really understand, the nuances and the impacts of the atypical circumstances, but also talk about how adept and, as Adam said, agile we are as an organization in responding to that. So to me, it was definitely make lemonade out of a bag of lemons month. We don't have many of those, so I think we'll find it informative and beneficial, but also really speaks volumes as to the ability of the team and the organization to respond and really pivot on short notice and ensure we meet expectations and continue to deliver for the benefit of all. So look forward to that discussion. Joe, any little tease or headlines or highlights you want to offer?
Yeah, I mean,
on behalf of ops.
I think you kind of made the point that we're very proud of the way we reacted. There was a good collaboration with strategic supply management in terms of fuel and deliveries. There's some real nuance we'll get into in the full board meeting around demineralized water. You'll hear some different things that we have to do, that we operate under these extremely cold conditions in the Southeast region. And in Western New York, the Niagara River, we collaborate with the river control to manage the ice. Adam's using the expression jam. We really never did jam, but in order to keep that ice flowing over the river, over the falls, which is our spillway for the Niagara Power project, we had a lot of activity in the background that to support that. So in the end, we were able to meet all of our obligations from an energy perspective, and that was what was most important to us. All of our drilling and preparations for the winter this year worked, and we got to use all that exercise in real life.
So it's one of those devils in the detail months, and I think we'll all benefit. Beyond just interesting, it'll be very informative. Talk through the details in a week or 10 days when we're back together. So unless anyone has any specific questions, we'll pick it up, more at full board. All right, Adam, let it rip.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. And so in terms of, looking out to the forecast, we'll update that at the full board meeting. We're not really changing the forecast at this point, but just a headline number here. We'll have more detail. We'll have our January and February numbers at the full board with the full year forecast. But in February, we did have the similar problems in the first week of February, but we were able to manage that pretty well and rebounded nicely and had a really good month in February. So made up for the shortfall in January. So we're still as of now, we're back on track and ahead of schedule and target, meeting our financial targets. So we were able to, snap back from what was a difficult start of the year. So, good news for us to kind of recover, but it does show, the fragile nature of some of our operations, whether it be swings in water flow generation, especially with the hydros. A small blip there, can make a big difference. And as I mentioned before, with $3.5 billion of revenues, at 3% variance is $100 million. So small changes can be significant impact when it comes to its effect on our bottom line. So if no other questions, we'll move on.
Okay.
So we have a resolution to a couple of releases. Obviously, the normal release for the Canal Corporation for quarterly release. Canal's running pretty close to budget. Is slightly behind in a few areas, but overall, we believe it will track towards budget by the end of the year. So no changes for the release needed at this time. And then there's a $25 million release for workforce development. And this is just to allow the funds to be used and executed on different contracts that we'll be awarding. Sandra will be talking more about that later in the agenda about specific awards for contracts, but we have to release the money to make it available. And also for the NYPA renewables, we are releasing $2 million to make a voluntary contribution to a program. And this is just really a start of which will be greater numbers over time as not only our projects, but even some of our partners' projects are making voluntary, I would say at this time, pledges to make contributions in the future towards REACH. They're finding it to be a good place for them to make community benefits, requirements and obligations they have by utilizing the REACH program. So this is going to allow us to move the money through the system that will get through the IOUs and go on to bill credits for those people in those areas that are usually low, moderate income ratepayers. So those are the three releases that we have in front of us. I would look for your recommendation on that.
Yeah, any questions, for Adam? Again, the quarterly release for Canals, we're picking up in a little bit, very significant capital, funding release that's separate and distinct. Workforce development, while Sandra will take us through specific recommendations for a small slice of this. This is the annual commitment that we make, and the REACH allocation is Adam just described. Unless there's any questions about any of that, I'd ask and be pleased to entertain a motion to recommend all three items for full board adoption.
So moved.
Thanks, Cecily. Second, thank you very much, Lewis. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Thanks very much, Adam.
And so at this time, yep.
You're going to tee up
this
Steve?
time we'll ask. Yep, we'll ask Stephen to come up, present the next item. This is for providing contract value for Project Luminate. Steve will go through it, but basically it's to allow for contract services, but within the existing budget. So this is not a request for additional money for the project. This is how we're allocating it to various vendors and partners. Thank you. Stephen?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, trustees, NYPA colleagues, and the public. Project Luminate is a program to replace NYPA's current on-prem SAP platform, which is about 20 years old and is approaching its technological obsolescence. I am pleased to report today that Project Luminate is on budget and on track to deliver core functionality on September 4th, 2027. When I was last before you in March 2025, we were just embarking on the implementation, and we still had many unknowns regarding NYPA's existing processes. As expected, during the detailed design phase, it became evident that some of NYPA's existing processes are more complex than initially understood, and that there are a significantly higher number of manual and ad hoc processes that need to be addressed to ensure comprehensive coverage of the end-to-end global processes. These changes are crucial to fully leverage the capabilities of SAP S/4HANA, including automated billing, error handling, complex data integrations, swift system connectivity, financial process controls, code refactoring, and retrofitting. During the design, an additional opportunity also arose to consolidate all of the core reporting and analytics into the SAP Analytics Cloud, otherwise known as SAC. After assessing the benefits of a single focused SAC project team, the efficiency of utilizing the favorable rates that we negotiated under the Deloitte Luminate contract, and the simplification through consolidation of cloud platforms from Amazon Web Services to the Google Cloud, the broader team determined that it would be in the best interest of the authority to create a project beacon under the Luminate program umbrella to expand Deloitte's scope by exercising the option in their Luminate contract for SAC implementation services. Both of these items are fully covered by both the Luminate and Beacon approved project budgets. This is not a request for additional funding. However, to facilitate the work through the Deloitte Luminate contract, additional target value needs to be added to that agreement. We're looking at about 10.2 million for the Luminate portions that we discovered during design, and 14.4 million for the SAC consolidation for analytics and reporting. Therefore, I'm requesting that the board approve the additional capacity for Deloitte Consulting LLP in the amount of $25 million for a total authorized of 77.2 million. Any questions?
Thanks, Steve. Can you just give us a little more context on how the program is progressing and status and early returns and updated timeline and all the rest of that? Can you or Adam or someone
Sure.
give us a little bit of a drive-by, please?
So the team's been actually working, very hard work. We had our initial target date was in June, but we had a contingency of releasing in September, early September. As we were going through design, we discovered, like I said, a lot of processes that were essentially unknown to most people. They were in people's heads. They were in the heads of people who retired. And when we started looking at the processes globally, we identified a whole bunch of other opportunities to be able to, streamline and be able to take advantage of automation, AI tools and so forth, moving forward. We are on target. We're concluding the design build phase in about a week. We are calling it T-160. We are 160 days out of going live. It's a key decision point for us to say, what we're going live with, what the extent of the scope is. We're proud to say that we've got about 95% of the scope identified that we're actually going to be going live with. There are a couple of items that, because of the complexity, are going to be slipping, but they're not crucial to day one. And so, we feel like we're in a really good place. We have at last count this morning, 375 people working on the project, combination of employees and consultants. They work every day. We are currently, with our outsourcing team, running 24 hours. We're running in the United States, and then we transition overseas to a lot of the build for some of the build teams. And so we feel like, we are in a good place to make this date. We've just completed our first set of mock data conversions and our first systems integration testing cycle. We're completing that. And we have identified a majority of the errors are related to data or, integration configurations. And so thankfully, it's not related to any of the builds or any of the other, technical components. And so we feel like we're in a really good place. Personal experience, this is my 5th large-scale ERP project in my career. I honestly can't say it's the best one I've ever done, but it's definitely not the worst.
All that sounds very encouraging. How are the 375 people holding up? How's the team coping and dealing?
With any project, there's stresses, there's good days, there's bad days. Thankfully, it's been, the last couple of weeks have been a lot less stressful as we are wrapping up, the mock conversion and the SIT test, and as we're wrapping up development. We are embarking in our first set of, large scale test. Starting 2 weeks from now, we are doing the first combined test between the ERP and the HCM components. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of stress from a lot of people needing to be aligned and get ready to deal with it. For a lot of people, it's new. They've never been on something this large. And so there's a little bit of discouragement that comes when you go into test and you have failures. But we're trying as a team to constantly remind people that's why you test, because you want to get the failures, now, before you go live. It's been a very good learning opportunity. We took a poll of the teams recently, and we've got, a pretty positive attitude from a majority of the people who have been involved. We just released our change survey. I apologize, I don't have that information on me right now. But that was also very positive. So we're making penetration into the global environment. But one of the things that's coming up is the next 4 months are going to be very, very difficult and time consuming for most people. And so we have been prepping people. We're trying to, keep the morale up, remind people that we expect things not to go perfectly, and that, they should feel free to comment, jump in, give us suggestions and help. And that's it's good that the team is gelling. There's a lot of cross-pollination across the multiple teams. We're no longer, in our vertical silos. I was just in a meeting this morning early about one of the things when it comes to be technical, our automated accrual engine, talking about, some 5,000 POs that need to be addressed in order to fix some of the data. And it was very encouraging to hear the combination between some of the NYPA people and some of the IT people and some of the Deloitte contractors looking at alternatives to do some kind of automation, use some AI tools to help them with that data conversion. So there's a lot more cross-pollination. People are feeling really engaged. So it's been a very good project from the standpoint of NYPA.
And you're pleased with the support from Deloitte? There hasn't been undue churn on their side, and you're getting good continuity engagement from them?
We have very good commitment from Deloitte. They're a good partner. They're helpful when need be. Also, I got to say the Gartner, who's actually our PMQA and our risk manager, has been actively involved. There's a very good working relationship between both Deloitte and Gartner into helping us move forward. So I think we're in a very good state right now on that. We have not had very much churn. We've had some churn, but not very much.
Okay. Well, all that sounds encouraging, but also hear you loud and clear. The next few months are critical to the ultimate outcome and success. So we look forward to continuing updates. So thank you for that. Other questions for Steve? If not, I'd ask for a motion to recommend the approval of the additional 25 million as he's presented for full board adoption in a week or 10 days.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Appreciate the update this morning, Lewis.
Thanks, Lewis. Can I have a second, Michael?
Second.
Super. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, Stephen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Lewis and I both just said we look forward to hearing more. Adam, thank you very much. And we look forward to you and Joe taking us a little bit more behind the curtain as to how you navigated the start of a bumpy and challenging year. I know that will be informative as well as, I'm sure, entertaining. So thank you for that. More importantly, thank you for your leadership to ensure we effectively did so. Okay. Next up, we've got some significant contract award parameters, approvals, pools of funds that we're being asked to earmark. First up is Brian Platt.
Good morning. My name is Brian Platt. I'm a senior project engineer working in NYPA's project delivery group. And I'm here today to share details of the proposed award of value contracts to 14 firms that responded to an RFP NYPA issued last summer. The scope of the work that would be performed under these contracts is earthwork related construction activities that would be performed on the New York State Canal System's assets. We are requesting that the Finance Committee recommend approval for 10-year value contracts to 14 firms identified on this slide for an aggregate value of $250 million. The work that would be performed would be spread amongst 5 different asset categories within the canal system. Those categories are earthen embankments, canal culverts, trailways, upland disposal sites, terminal walls, lock chamber walls, and similar structures. In the future, the way that we would release work is in a risk-based, prioritized order based on long-range work planning efforts that are currently underway by program teams that are focused on each of these categories. We would undertake a midi-bid process to identify the work to these value contractors. And in identifying that work, we anticipate providing design specifications and permits. The basis for the $250 amount and 10-year duration is due to the relatively large number of asset categories, there being 5, and a large number of assets within each class, within each category. We initiated the procurement activity last August through issuance of the request for proposal. And in October of last year, we received 17 proposals. An evaluation committee reviewed the proposals based on the experience described within each of the proposals for the asset classes. Following the evaluation process, the committee recommended award to the 14 firms identified on this slide. Thanks for the opportunity to share details. I'd be happy to answer questions that you may have.
And clarify, Brian, I mean, we're earmarking 250 million, and these are the 14 firms that you expect to intend to work with. We aren't awarding any specific contracts at this point in time, correct?
That's correct. So the specific work would be identified in the future.
And so how do you give us some sense of how on a time phase basis this 250 million will ultimately be expended? Is it 25 million a year, or is it 100 million in the next 2 years? I mean, most of it's what is the expectation?
So one of the first activities that we're performing is developing a long range plan that'll identify the timing for when that value will be expended over the next 10 years. We have an initial, we're calling them waves of projects for asset classes that are identified and paired with the highest risk assets. And there's initial study and planning work being performed now and in the coming year or two. Subsequent to that would be a design. We anticipate a design activity followed by construction. So say within the next several years, we anticipate the construction activity would commence.
So we're really way out in front of the ultimate expenditure of these funds with earmarking these dollars. That's where I always struggle a bit with, how early we are in making, providing this authority or approval, when it sounds like you just said we're years away from really having a specific game plan that, that would require expenditure.
Yeah, so the portfolio is generally known. So what's going on now is the prioritization of the portfolio. So we do have a menu of projects that have to be committed, that these resources have to be committed to already. And what Brian's talking about too is that we are prioritizing it to do the most urgent first, and that process is in flight. That does not stop us from using any of these contracts as we identify immediate needs going forward as well. So the work that is being released here is, as you pointed out, kind of an earmark of contracts that we can use, but the contractors that we can use. Right. And that work is already outlined in our long range plan today as to what we expect to spend over a period of time. So most of these projects are identified. There will be obviously some emerging things that come into play, but we do have many of them identified already.
but you'll be coming back to us with individual contract awards,
Right.
as that goes. I always struggle a bit, and with 250 million, it's rather significant. The next one, another 250 million.
That's right.
I mean, this is Christmas and a half here. We got 500 million between these two initiatives. So you just want to make sure I understand the sequencing and the prioritization.
Yeah, and not all these contractors can respond to every one of the categories that Brian touched on as well. So that's another way that the work is spread out. Some will be able to do certain work, and others will be able to do other work identified in those asset classes.
And picking up on that point, I was curious as to, I mean, you got 14 here. Are 2 or 3 of them going to be the primary beneficiaries of this work? Or is this work pretty evenly spread across the spectrum? How specialized versus general, are the entities here?
Well, some of it's geographic, but Brian, I don't know if you have a response to the asset classes and how this will be broken out.
Yeah, Joe and Chairman, this is Adrian Luongo. I'll speak up there. Yeah, across the 14 firms, each of them are qualified to do the work across each of the asset classes. However, within the 14, some of them are more specialized for a different asset group, and their geographic locations aligns to where we see the heat map of the critical assets across the state. So the short answer to your question, Chairman, is it will be distributed amongst the vendors based on 1, their workload availability, 2, geographic location, and their expertise for the specific scope and asset class that they'll be working on. And similar to the question regarding the 250 million, if we have unlimited funds and can move forward at, no limits to our pace, the average wouldn't be 25 million a year, but we anticipate as we're ready for construction, different years could have a peak. But we have all the programs set up and the contract terms set up so we can ramp up and ramp down based on available funding. Canals has certain guide rails on the annual spend we can do. So we make sure it's closely aligned. The cash flow is closely aligned with the availability of the funding.
And maybe you could share a little more of that with us before, board, so we have a better feel. I mean, I realize this is consistent with the type of earmarking that we do, but 500 million gets my attention in terms of the level of allocation. So if you could just give us a little bit more as to what you see happening when and all the rest of that. I realize it's a moving target, it's fluid, etc., but it would be helpful just to see the benefit or have the benefit of that.
And this is a mechanism that we've seen before, and we know it's on occasion causes confusion with this versus the actual releases.
Right.
So we've seen it on the transmission lines and some other things as well. So we'll do a better job of trying to outline how this actually works and the releases work. But you'll see any major contract before it's released.
Well, we talk about economic development and having economic impact. 500 million of awards to primarily upstate New York firms is significant economic development in our state. So from that standpoint, we can take that pride not only in the investment that we're making in canals and other infrastructure, but the benefits that that's driving for those across the state. Other questions, comments, thoughts from the group? Louis, Michael, B, Leslie, Cecily, Laurie, anybody?
Just a clarification if I could, John, and thank you for probing a little bit deeper because I was a little bit confused as well. I think Brian talked about micro bid. So I'm thinking this goes along with the statement that all of these people can do the work. So when the work needs to be done, you go back to these contractors who've already been approved to do the work and say, who can do this? When, where, how, why, and is that what the micro bid term means, or mini bid? I think it was micro bid.
Yep. Mini bid is the term.
Mini bid.
So the idea with the mini bid is we would identify in more detail what the specific scope of the work would be for these firms to bid on.
So along the lines of what John said, we have a pocket of money. We have 14 contractors that have already been approved to do the work. The work's going to move along. You're going to say, we need this work done here. This is one of our priority projects. And the money goes to the contractor who mini bids and is awarded. Is that too simple, or am I?
No, I think that's a good summary.
Right on. Yeah.
Great. Okay. That helps. Thank you.
And as I said, we do this all the time for a variety,
Right.
but we don't do it often for 250 million in 10 years and twice in the same meeting. So I'm just making sure we all appreciate what we're doing here and have a sense for, how this will play itself out. So anybody else? Otherwise, Cecily, you want to make a motion to recommend this item to full board for adoption?
I will make that motion.
Have a second?
Second,
I'll-
please.
Thank you. It was collective second there. Which I think all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, Brian, thanks very much for that. Joe, appreciate
Thank you.
the support as well. We just heard from Andrea in response to some of the Q&A there. She's going to present our next item on the guard gate and waste rehab design.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everyone. I am Andrea Luongo. I will present the recommendation for contract award for the statewide guard gate and wasteware program. Jungmin Hao is the project manager, and unfortunately, she caught whatever virus is going on, complemented by losing her voice. So that is why she's not here in person nor virtually. The guard gates and wastewares are two asset groups that are critical to the overall operation, maintenance, and flood control for the New York State Canal system. They make up about 25% of the critical assets across our capital plan. We are requesting that the Finance Committee recommend approval to award 10-year value contracts and an aggregate amount of $250 million to the firms identified on the right-hand side of the slide, using the design build delivery model. The recommended suppliers will be providing both design and construction services in support of these critical structural assets under the Canals Revitalization Program. There were up to 30 guard gates and 23 wasteware that are expected to be rehabilitated or completely replaced, with specific work, as we just discussed, will be released in waves based on risk prioritization within the asset group and aligned to the available capital funding. The design build model is expected to provide delivery and schedule efficiencies. We're able to get shop drawings and details for the design a lot earlier in the project lifecycle. So we're expecting to see efficiencies in delivery based on construction durations. The funding for these contracts is included in the capital long-range work plan. A request for proposal was issued back in September of 2025. 5 bids were received in December of last year. We had a cross-functional evaluation team evaluate each of the proposals based on program approach, experience, value added, innovation, safety, pricing, financial stability, and also any commercial exceptions. The 4 suppliers that are listed on the screen are the ones that are being put forth for award, and we are hereby requesting your approval. So I appreciate the time and happy to field any questions.
My comments or requests would be similar. If you could, with this 500 million, give us some kind of collective timeline, a one-pager that just at least captures how you currently expect all this to, play itself out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
In bigger picture. And I meant to ask earlier, so the 14 there, the 4 here, have we worked with all of them in the past? Are there some new players in the game? I'm assuming we're always open to new players, but at the same time, specialized, unique work. What's the mix there?
Yeah, we have 2 to 3 new vendors across the both sets of these value contracts. Brian, I don't remember the name on Earthworks, but we have one new vendor there. And then on this one, PJS Scariano, he actually is not new to New York Power Authority, but he is new to, that firm is new to doing work at the canals. So working with SRM, all the vendor outreach efforts we've done, one has definitely paid dividends by the quantity of bids we're receiving. I mean, to get 17 responses and being able to successfully bring over the finish line 14 is a testament to the hard work with SRM.
Right.
So we were
Right.
very proud of that.
We also have mechanisms. I talked to John Canal about this as well, strategic supply management. 10 years is a long period of time for any company. So some will come, some will go. We'll have opportunities to modify this list if we have to at future dates if necessary.
Yeah, as expected, okay. But, this will keep some of those, in the games,
That's correct.
for sure. So, okay. Again, same church, different view, a bit of a rinse and repeat, approach here. So unless you have, other questions, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to recommend this item as well, the full board for adoption.
So moved.
Cecily?
Insert.
B, all right, thanks very much. Can I have a second? Cecily, I saw you nod. Lewis,
I'll second.
all right, Karen will allocate that second. All right, otherwise, all in favor, aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Brian, Andrea, Joe, thank you very much. Ben, Merry Christmas. Don't expect to get 500 million, every finance committee meeting. Once every 10 years is, plenty. And if anyone wants to question our commitment to, canals, you just saw a very ample, evidence, of it. 500 with, 2 zeros. So, we're continuing, to lean in and, support a critical asset, for our state. Proud to do so, but want to ensure we get due recognition for that resolve and determination. Okay. Our last discussion item, Sandra is back with some additional awards or recommendations. That said, to make a point, ask a question up front. I know last time we talked about you're going to come back to us with a report out on the impacts and some of the operational metrics and KPIs, et cetera, relative to the awards we're making, right? We can look forward to that sooner than not, Sandra?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be back before you on March 31st at the board meeting. In my talking points today, though, I do have a few preview KPIs to share with you.
Okay, all right. So while you're back for more, you are gonna ultimately give us some results and outcomes. Okay, with that, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, trustees, NYPA colleagues, and the public. I'm here today to request $5 million in funding in response to our third application cycle for this year's Clean Energy Workforce Training request for application. As I mentioned at the March 31st board meeting, I'll provide you with a look back. I'll review the KPIs and highlights from the programs, and I'm really excited to share them with you. A preview into the KPIs. In the first year of training, as of February 2026, we've trained just under 4,000 students, 3,904 to be exact. And we have a combined within the programs, a 93% retention rate from enrollment to program completion and credential attainment. We're also seeing a starting wage around $54,080. It's $26 per hour with benefits. So we're really excited to go dig deeper into the metrics with you. We'll look at where the investments are being made, the funding that's been drawn down to date, the percentage of DAC recipients, and placement. So stay tuned until the 31st for that. And so for today, to date, for the fiscal year that started on April 1, 2025, we have obligated $20 million for clean energy workforce training initiatives. The third application cycle of the RFA opened on January 1 and closed on January 30th of this year. We received a robust response with a total of 38 applications. The process for evaluation was consistent with the first and second cycles. And of the 38 applications, 10 applications were deemed ineligible under the requirements. 3 applications were from organizations that we had previously funded. And today I'll present 8 programs for approval. Due to the strong response across the 3 application cycles, with a total of 91 applications this year, we plan to award a 4th tranche of funding from this RFA in the upcoming fiscal year. The team is really excited about the programs, as today the programs that I'm going to discuss continue to diversify the geography as well as the recipients of training. The 8 programs presented for approval for a total of $5 million are as follows. $450,000 award is requested for the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, BNYDC. BNYDC is a 501c3 organization formed by the City of New York for charitable purposes of developing and managing the Brooklyn Navy Yard on behalf of the city, with the goal of creating employment and reducing unemployment within the city. The program will deliver electric vehicle charging field technician training at the Brooklyn Navy Yard Smart Lab to 3 cohorts with a total of 60 students. Students will learn to diagnose, maintain, and service electric equipment in real-world scenarios, gaining the competencies needed to perform safely and effectively in the field. A $1,150,000 award is requested for the Center for Employment Opportunities, that's CEO. CEO is a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing comprehensive employment services to people newly released from New York State prisons and detention facilities. The funds will support a statewide union pre-apprenticeship training initiative for 200 justice-impacted New Yorkers across New York City, Buffalo, Rochester, and Albany. The program culminates in apprenticeship or direct employment placements with unions and clean energy employers. And the program also includes 12 months of retention support for the participants, which is really critical for those that are justice impacted and coming into a new workplace. $625,000 award is requested for non-traditional employment for women. It's called NEW. NEW's mission is to recruit, train, and place women in careers in the skilled construction, utility, and maintenance trades, helping women achieve economic independence and providing a pipeline of clean energy workers. The funds will support a New York City-wide pre-apprenticeship initiative to train 500 women in green construction, including wraparound support services and coordinated job placement in internships, apprenticeships, and full-time roles. A $900,000 award is requested for St. Lawrence Louis Bosse's. St. Lawrence Adult Education and Workforce Development Division serves 17 districts in St. Lawrence County and 1 in Lewis County. The program will train 85 students, 60 will be new workers, 25 are incumbent workers in clean energy, industrial maintenance mechanics. The program targets DAC communities and priority populations with wraparound supports, including transportation, PPE, case management, a stackable BOCES micro-credential, and job placement. A $450,000 award is requested for Soulful Synergy. Soulful Synergy was awarded funding in our first year of funding, and their current contract ends with us in the end of Q4 2026. They are an MBE organization in Westchester, Mid-Hudson, serving New Rochelle and Mount Vernon, and the award will allow them to train an additional 40 participants, 20 in weatherization and energy efficiency, and 20 in building and transportation electrification. Currently, they have an 86% DAC representation in their program, and they are one of the programs I'll be highlighting when I present at the board meeting in almost 2 weeks. A $750,000 award is requested for the HOPE program, the Home of Prosperity and Empowerment. Mission is to equip individuals from marginalized communities with skills, support, and opportunities they need to secure sustainable careers and create lasting economic mobility. Over 90% of the HOPE program's clients identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC, and 100% are considered low income at enrollment. The program will support training of 100 students in their Clean Energy Workforce Pathway program and include extensive wraparound support services and an 8 to 12 week paid employer embedded internship. Also to note for this program, there's an approximate 50% cost share for the program from the HOPE program as well. A $525,000 award is requested for the United Way of Long Island. We awarded the United Way of Long Island in our first fiscal year, and their contract is ending in Q2 of 2026. The funds will support their Power Up Clean Energy Efficiency Technician Training Program for 100 students. And students will learn clean energy construction principles in the field at one of the United Way of Long Island's many in development net zero homes. They have great, excellent retention and placement rates, and their average starting salary for their graduates is $31 per hour. Companies offering benefits and growth opportunities. And last, a $150,000 award is requested for the WVI Dolphin Foundation. We supported their program in year one. Their contract ends next month. The funds will support another year of their leadership and life skills mentorship program for underserved students. The program emphasizes workforce readiness, mentorship, and post-graduation support, including internships. The program continues to grow each year, and they graduated 61 students last year, and they were 100% from DAC communities. These 8 investments, if approved, will close out our fiscal year, our second fiscal year. So thank you. I will take any questions at this time.
Appreciate that overview, Sandra. So the fact that with Soulful, Synergy, and United Way of Long Island, we're re-upping. That sharpens my ask for understanding the success of those programs, or the success of our initial awards before we approve a second one. Can you ensure you get us that information specific to them, in addition to whatever overall information
Yes.
you're going to provide us?
Absolutely. Not a problem.
And what's your internal process for ensuring they're hitting the mark? And I mean, give us a feel and a flavor. I'm sure to qualify for round 2, you have to have been successful with round 1. How do you define success, and how do you and your team evaluate that?
Sure. So we evaluate their proposal based on our, consistent evaluation. But then when we look at their metrics from their previous year, we're looking at retention rate, salary, a placement rate. So making sure that students that are being brought in on the front end for enrollment are completing programs, they're gaining their credentials, and then they're gaining employment. So those are our really key metrics, and that it's a livable wage. So at $26 or $31 an hour, we're, over 52% over minimum wage. So definitely we're looking at those. Those are those key performance indicators always with the programs. And also I would say too, just adding in what recipients of training, where they're coming from, if they're coming from DAC communities, because that's one of the most important things as well.
And I know I'm being repetitive from our last conversation, but do you go on site, and are we personally witness to these programs? Do we use internal audit to go out and quote unquote verify the information they're providing? How do we engage them? In particular, I'm focused on those that are benefiting from round 2 awards here.
Absolutely. We've been on site with both Soulful Synergy and United Way. I have a video that I'll show from United Way. I actually took internal audit to the graduation that we just went to about 2 weeks ago. Very impressive. And so meeting with the students, I've been going out on site just to talk with them, talk about their experiences, and then, just learn more about the program and make sure that the classroom space is there and that everything they say is there.
Okay, great. Yeah. And yeah, it'll be good to, hopefully you get a chance to talk with program participants and hear firsthand, and, all the rest of that. So, okay. All right. Look forward to hearing more. Others jump in here. B, thoughts, comments?
No, I'm just, interested in maintaining the awareness of geographic inclusion across these programs. And as you are interested, I want to see some of the the data that says, we're on the right track. And also I'm interested in knowing what our lessons learned are. Where have we learned how to be better at what we're doing versus just telling us how well we are doing?
Absolutely. I have lessons learned included in my presentation for the board.
Give us a teaser. Give us a good one, Sandra.
Well, Trustee Gonzalez mentioned geographic diversity. So looking at where do we need to deploy our boots on the ground, our team, to make sure that everyone knows across the state that we have this funding, right? Making sure that it's equitable. One of the other things that we did too is we changed from an RFP to an RFA because we felt that that would yield a better response, which shows we went from 18 applications our first year to 91 this year. So it's a process of getting the word out, but definitely those are some of the lessons learned. I will have more for you though.
Okay. All right, anyone else? Questions for Sandra before I ask for a motion? All right, then I'll ask for a motion to recommend this item to full board for adoption.
So
Me.
moved. Go ahead.
Laurie, give us a second.
Second.
Great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Sandra. We look forward to your report out and an expanded discussion, as you said, on the 31st at our board meeting. Thank you very much and great work.
Thank you.
And obviously, we're changing lives. So very, very, very well done here and an important initiative that we're proud to fund and advance. So very well done. Thank you. All right. That completes our discussion agenda. Next up is consent agenda. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review the information that was provided with to all of us in advance. Unless you have any questions, I'll be happy to ask for a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Laurie. Thank you, Laurie. Cecily, give me a second.
Sure, second.
Thank you very much. Be a third, along with Michael Lewis. All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
All in favor, consent agenda approved. That concludes the open portion of our meeting. We will be adjourning poor choice of words, moving to exec session for the next portion of the meeting. And then we will formally adjourn the meeting coming out of exec session, but there will be no other matters discussed on the back end of exec session. So for anyone in the public or otherwise watching, this is the conclusion of the action-packed portion of the Finance Committee. All of that said, if I could, I now ask for a motion to conduct an executive session pursuant to section 105 of the Public Officers Law.
So move.
All right, thanks, Michael. A second. I heard that was Lewis, I think. Caught the back end of Lewis. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, with that, we will adjourn or move to executive session. Otherwise, thank everyone for their attendance and participation today. And if you don't catch it later, we'll see you in 10, 12 days for full board on the 31st. Thank you. All right, if I could, I'd ask for a motion to resume the meeting in open session.
So moved.
Thank you, Laurie. Second.
I'll second.
Thanks a lot, Cecily. All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
motion carried? As always, no votes were taken during the executive session. As I said before, we move to executive session. Unless there's any other matters to come before us, that concludes our planned agenda for the day. Appreciate everyone's attendance, participation, and found it to be productive as always. We'll be back together on the 31st for full board, and look forward to seeing everyone then. Stay warm, and hopefully warmer days ahead. Thanks so much, everybody. If I could ask for a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Thanks, Michael. Second, Laurie. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Have a great day, great weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye.